Hey everyone, this is Logs Day 8. So we are going to continue with expanding, but we are going to use multiple rules at once. Okay, so remember our rules are that multiplication turns into addition, division turns into subtraction, and an exponent moves to the front. Okay, so those are the three rules that we are using. Sometimes we'll have to use more than one. So for our first question, we have log of 5xy. Okay, so remember, you're taking this part right here. You are splitting it into multiple logs. So I have three terms here. I have a 5, I have an x, and I have a y. So I'm going to end up with 3 separate logs. So I just have to then figure out, what am I changing? So I've got log of 5. That's my first term. Okay, this is multiplication in between the 5 and the x, because if there's no operation right in there, you're multiplying. So 5 and x, that should have a plus in between them now, because it was a multiplication, it turned into addition. And then I move on to log of x. And then the x and the y are also being multiplied. So I put a plus again, and log of y. So I have 1, 2, 3 logs because I have 1, 2, 3 terms. Then I just have to figure out here, my multiplication turned into addition. Okay, so same rules, it's just sometimes there are more terms that we have to use. So for question number 2, we're going to have log base 5 of xy divided by 12. Okay, so first let's figure out how many logs we're going to have. I have an x, I have a y, I have a 12. This 5 is the base, so remember that doesn't affect anything. It's just all of them are going to be log base 5. So I have 1, 2, 3 terms, so I'm going to have 3 separate logs. So we'll start with the first one, log base 5 of x. Okay, so just write your first one out, then figure out, okay, what is this operation between the x and the y? This is multiplication. Multiplication turns into addition. So I've got log base 5 of x plus log base 5 of y. Okay, took care of the y. Now we have the 12 down here. The 12 is being divided. So I'm going to subtract it, because division turns into subtraction. So minus log base 5 of 12. So just use your rules. Even if there are multiple things going on, just figure out what is happening here and what do I have to change it to. So multiplication turned into addition, division turned into subtraction, and then just write them all out. For our next question, we have log of 10x squared. Okay, so first thing, I have 2 terms here. So I'm going to have 2 logs. I have the 10 and I have the x squared. And remember, we have to do something with the exponent, but we do that last. Okay, so 10x squared. So first we're going to split the 10 and the x squared up. So I've got log of 10. These are being multiplied, so I turn it into addition plus log of x squared. Okay, so I did my multiplication into addition. Now I have to take care of this exponent. And when we have an exponent, it just moves to the front. So I take this 2, I am moving it just in front of its own log. I am not putting the 2 in front of the log to the 10, because over here, the 10 is not being squared. Just the x is being squared. So the 2 is going to go in front of the log with the x. So now when we write our final answer, we've got log of 10 plus 2 log of x. Okay, so again, do your multiplication division first, worry about the exponents at the end, because we don't want to start by moving the 2 to the front, because the 2 should not be in front of the log base 10, because the 10 is not being squared, only the x is being squared, so the 2 should be in front of log of x. Okay, and our last one, we have natural log of 5 divided by 2x squared. Okay. So this one's going to be the most complicated because we have 2 terms in the bottom. So total, we still have 1, 2, 3 terms. So we're going to have 3 logs. But we are using all of our rules here. So this 5 is being divided, the 2 and the x are being multiplied, and I have an exponent. So I'm using all 3 of my rules up here. So for the first one, just write out your first term. So natural log of 5. The 2 and the x squared are both being divided because they're both in the denominator. So even though the 2 and the x squared are being multiplied together, they are still being divided because they are both in the denominator. So when we're thinking of division, anything that is in the denominator is being divided. So you're not saying the 2 and the x squared are being multiplied together. You're saying the x squared and the 2 are being divided by 5, or 5 is being divided by 2x squared. So the 2 is going to be subtracted because I'm dividing. And then the x squared is also going to be subtracted because it's in the denominator. Okay, so anything in the denominator needs to be subtracted. Okay, anything in the numerator is going to be positive or added if it's up top, just like here with the x and the y, those are being added because they were in the numerator in the top. The 12 was being subtracted because it was in the bottom. So the 2 and the x squared are both in the denominator in the bottom, so I need to write them both as subtraction. Okay, so I took care of my multiplication and my division steps. Now I just need to look for exponents, and I have one here. I need to move it to the front. So my final answer is going to be the natural log of 5 minus the natural log of 2 minus 2 natural log of x. Okay, so make sure that you are doing the exponents last so that you are only having the exponent on the natural log that it belongs to. And then anything in the denominator needs to be subtracted. Okay, so check out your homework for this question, and I will see you guys for Logs Day 9.